Hello arcade gamers and welcome to BiggggyD's Arcade. I'm going to be live tonight because we've got console kits and 19K Fox off air tonight. So I figured it'd be a good opportunity for me to live stream and do my chill and chat, kind of engage with everyone in the audience and get the chats up on the screen. So if you're here, let us know. And if you have any issues with my audio on my microphone or anything that I'm displaying, let me know in the chat and I'll go ahead and fix it as we go. But let's go ahead and say hi to everyone in the chat. It looks like we've got Soul for Sale. He was asking about 19K Fox, and like I said, he's not on tonight. So I'll kind of fill in for him the best that I can. I'm still pretty new to all this, so just doing what I can with what I've got. And then it looks like we've got the bad guy Mike Worley. He's saying Fox is off tonight. Yes, he is. Good to see you. And then we've got Andy's Game Room saying evening all. So good to see you here, Andy. And there we go. We've got PD7 as well saying, hey, everybody. So let's go ahead and get into it here. And just kind of want to start. I'm wearing these headphones here. There's actually no sound coming through these. These are just kind of covering my ears so I can kind of hear what I'm saying a little better. So I'm not completely hearing my voice the whole time I'm talking. Kind of muffles it a little bit. Also live right next to a major street right here to my left. P-Dubs knows he's been over here. It gets pretty loud with the traffic. So this kind of muffles it a little bit better so I can stay on track for a live stream like this. But it looks like we've got Goofy Foot. He's in today as well. Good to see you, Goofy. And we've got Video Tau 008. Hi, good to see you, Video Tau. So let's go ahead and get into it. And this is only my second time doing a live stream like this. The first one I did was a giveaway where I gave away a free t-shirt, Pinball Hall of Fame t-shirt. And this is going to be my second one. This will be a chill and chat, just basically what I do every Sunday, just live this time. So appreciate everyone that's joined and looking forward to getting this going. So what I'm going to start with is my move. I've got a move that's going to be starting here in 6 weeks. So at the beginning of March, I'm moving out of this tiny apartment into a much larger townhome, which is going to give me an office area to do all my YouTube stuff. And then also I'll have a game room, which is basically going to be my living room. But I'll also have enough room to have a couch in there. Currently, I just have arcades in my living room, so that'll be nice to have a couch. And then also I can expand my arcade as well, getting some additional, arcade one-ups. I've already purchased an iiRcade, and I'm looking to get some AtGames products as well. So I'll get into all that. But what I'm going to be focused on here over the next probably 5 to 6 weeks, or maybe sooner, maybe starting next week, is making content about the move. When I first started the channel, there were a lot of interested people that viewed and watched the channel, and they had showed interest in, what's the moving process like for an arcade one-up? How do you move them? Because they had heard that I moved from Arizona to Texas, and they were interested in knowing how do you move arcade one-ups and still keep them in good shape and not, mess anything up during the move. So I'm going to be making content on how I do that. All the arcades behind me are in perfect condition. There's no scratches, no marks, nothing anywhere on them. I mean, they're perfect. And the way I've done that is just being really careful in how I move them and just making sure that I'm not, cutting any corners and I'm wrapping everything really well. So I'll go over that process with you guys and create some videos on that. So if you're interested in it or anyone in the future is interested in that, they can rewatch those. And then I'll also go into the disassembly process. I don't disassemble the whole arcade. I just take the game deck out, and I've saved my boxes for those game decks. So I'll be showing you all that as well. And then what that's going to do, it's going to take me away from doing, the chill and chats and the weekly midweek update and things like that. So it'll change a little bit for a little while till I get settled into my new place. But I'll still be on YouTube. I'll still be making content. It'll just be a little bit different. And looks like bad guy Mike Worley said here, a pickup truck or a box truck with a lot of padding and blankets. Yeah, so I use a U-Haul trailer. I've got an SUV where I can pull a trailer behind it. So what I'll do is I'll just load that trailer up. That's how I moved cross country. I won't have to do that this time. I'm just moving across town. So I'll probably still get the trailer, but I won't have to pack it as tight. I'll just be able to do multiple trips. It's also nice that I'm getting to do it over 2 weeks too. So I don't have to rush and, just make everything a lot easier. But that's, new, I think. I haven't seen any content on moving, and I haven't seen any content on how to move arcades. So I know that Console Kids had briefly mentioned it on one of his Sunday streams a few weeks ago, but no one's really dived deep into that type of content. So I'm looking forward to it. And then it looks like Beach Native just joined us. How's it going, Beach Native? It's going good. Just getting started, so you haven't missed much. I've only been on air here for about 9 minutes, so we're just getting going. But what I'm going to go over here next is, what do I want to add to my next arcade? So I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace, just kind of already, scouring that to see what used available units are out there, what kind of deals can I get. I found an iiRcade for $200. By the time I messaged the guy, he had already sold it. I also found an ALU in perfect shape. That's an At Games Legend Ultimate for $200. And whenever you go on Facebook Marketplace, it gives you the option to either pay full price or to offer 10% lower. It just makes it real simple. You just click 10% lower and submit. And I fell for that, and I think I lost my opportunity on that ALU because he said I was second in line, and he sold it on Friday. I didn't get it. So definitely next time I see a deal like that, I'm not going to offer anything less than what they're asking, because $200 was a steal. And this At Games Legends Ultimate was in perfect shape. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. And he had said he had never played it, and you could tell because, I mean, it looked great. And PD7 said here, at least they're light enough to carry. Yes, absolutely. So that's one thing I like about the arcade one-up. And what's kind of held me back from getting an At Games is those, Legends Ultimates are a lot bigger, a lot heavier. But I'm going to probably be a little more settled into my new place at this townhome. So I'm going to be more open to getting larger and heavier arcades than I have in the past. And Boomer Bob has joined us here. He says fishtails. And I'm not sure. I guess he may be referring to my pinball. I know it's got fishtails on it. Telling us about the ones that got away. And so these are going to be the arcades that I want to add. So I'm shopping Facebook Marketplace. I saw the Sam's deals. They had $3.99 pinball, At Games pinball. They had $350 At Games Legends Ultimates. And I missed that liquidation event altogether because I didn't want the additional weight to carry additional, arcades to move. So I figured, you know what, I can afford to pay a little bit extra here in 6 weeks. And, I may end up having to pay full price, but I'm willing to do that because I know that's something that I want to get. And Lethal Wolf just joined us. He said, I just bought a Yoga Flame Street Fighter 2. That is a great cabinet to get, Lethal Wolf. You're definitely not going to regret that one. Let me tell you that, because that's probably been mutually agreed upon that is the #1 arcade one-up for 2022. So I don't think you went wrong getting that one. And that Yoga Flame is definitely on my radar as well. I'm trying to determine, should I get the Yoga Flame or should I get the Big Blue, though, because I really like Darkstalkers. I'm a huge fan of Darkstalkers. Actually pretty good at it, too. So I would want to play online and be competitive, and that kind of limits me to the Big Blue. So unless something new comes out, that may be what I get. But I do like that Yoga Flame. And Raven says, variety is the spice of life. Yes. The more variety you can have. I've only had arcade one-up to date. I just purchased an iiRcade, and now I'll be also getting the At Game. So I'm definitely expanding my arcade and a lot more variety. And then Beach Native says, he goes, I need a shooter cab, a flight cab, Afterburner, free Afterburner, and a trackball game. I really want Golden TXL, but that screen, yes. So that Golden TXL, I mean, it's got that TN monitor, and I've heard even, Michael B, he has said he doesn't like that screen. You have to stand directly in front of it. Even if you try to sit in a stool and play, it's nearly impossible. So I haven't really considered getting that Golden TXL for that reason. I'm really stuck on the BOE monitors. I don't really want to go to a TN or try to work with that. But so what I'm going to be adding to my arcade, I'm going to get a shooting cab. So definitely want a shooter, definitely want a steering wheel racing game, trackball games. I want to be able to play trackball games. When I first got into home arcade, that didn't really interest me because I wasn't really into like the Atari and those types of games. But as I've progressed in my home arcade, I guess you could say hobby or addiction, whatever you want to call it, I've started to want to get trackballs and spinner games and just experience those because I've never really played them. So I want a trackball, I want a spinner, and I want an At Games pinball. I've got the arcade 1-up pinball, but with the bigger screen on the At Games, the ability to download more pinball tables, all those things are what is attracting me to the At Games. I will probably never get rid of my Attack from Mars because I really like some of the tables on it, but I want to add to it by getting the At Games Legends pinball. And as you can see there, I recently added this Retro Mania Wrestling. I purchased that from a friend, and he's holding it for me until I move. So that's nice of him. And it looks like Raven SPE had said Darkstalkers is also on the Street Fighter Legacy cab, which has been very cheap. Yes, I was aware it did have the very first Darkstalkers on that one, but you can't play online. And that's kind of what's holding me back from that one is I want to be able to play online. Moving forward, I really want to focus any of my cabs that I buy to be online compatible if they're going to be an arcade 1-up. Because I've already got my modded arcade 1-up. I can pretty much play any game I want single player. So that online is what's going to sell me and make me want to buy one. And it looks like JR, he joined us here. He says, get the big blue. Definitely, yeah. That's being a Darkstalkers fan and playing Darkstalkers makes me want to get that big blue for sure. So let's get into this next slide I'd made here. And this is kind of like what I'm looking at getting. Okay, so for the drivers, I've kind of narrowed it down to just 2 cabinets. And unless something new comes out, which that very well could happen in the spring, we don't know. This is what it's going to look like. And I would prefer to have Outrun first. I like that game over Ridge Racer, but I know that Outrun is hard to find. It's not even in stock at any retailer. You would have to buy it used or get lucky, I would say, to get an Outrun. So I'm not predicting I'm going to end up with one, but that's first on my list. Second's going to be Ridge Racer. That's a game that I played on PlayStation. I've heard and seen really good reviews on this cabinet. And then the ability to upgrade it, to add the pedals, and to maybe even mod it and get additional racing games on it are what's leading me to that cabinet. For shooters, first on my list and only shooter on my list right now is T2. I did have an interest in Buck Hunter because I used to play that at the bars, but it's just way too short for me. I'm 6'3", 6'4". That little cabinet just isn't going to do it for me. T-Tall is a tall cabinet. I mean, it's one of the tallest arcade cabinets that Arcade 1-Up has made. So I think T2's the one, even with the one game. And Lethal Wolf said here, I would love to get Q*bert. I think many would love to get Q*bert. I just don't think it's going to happen. Listening to John D. and the way he spoke about it in that interview with B-Kongs, for whatever reason, they're just not wanting to do Q*bert right now. So that'll probably be well into the future, I think. And looks like Papa Brad has joined us as well. Good to see you, Papa Brad. I have a review of the Legend Ultimate that premieres at 10 tonight, so we'll definitely have to check that out for Papa Brad. Let's all tune in and check that out. And then Mitchell B has joined us. He said, get the skeleton skim kit for the ALU. It makes a difference. So I'll look at that as well and see what that's all about, because I've never heard of that kit yet. And good to see you, Goofyfoot. I'm glad you made it. So T2, that's my first shooter. And then, of course, Time Crisis. If Time Crisis comes available in the spring, in March, I'll go with it. That's going to be higher on my list than T2. But I just don't think it's going to be ready in time. So I'm preparing for a Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator 2 sitting in my living room. And it looks like Video Tau 008, he said, I just swapped the monitor on his Joust cab with a Dell, and it's such high quality. He loves it. Yes, I've seen people swap their Joust and their MK30th with that monitor, and it does look very good. Even 19K Fox did that with his MK30th and did a whole video on it. And that's what you need to do if you're interested in those cabinets, because that TN just, it's not a good looking screen at all. And then Third Floor Arcade with Jason, he's joined us. Hey, PD7, yeah, I'd definitely keep Ridge Racer. I'd probably put the two side by side. So yeah, that I'll probably end up with Ridge Racer. It doesn't look like I'm gonna get outrun, unfortunately. And then, now this is the good thing about the Legends Ultimate, is it fills two needs for me immediately. It's gonna give me the spinners and it's gonna give me the trackball all in one. So one cabinet fills two needs. And that's why I'm pretty much ready to purchase. You know, it's just a matter of time now. And that's the thing, is timing is everything. I'm all about the deals. I would have really liked to take advantage of the Sam's deals, but just it was the timing. So it's going to cost me money, but that's just the situation I'm in. Now, the new pinball machine, the Legends Pinball, the At Games Legends Pinball, I've got two options. I've got the Ultimate Legends Pinball, the big one with the 32-inch screen, or I've got the Pinball Micro. Now that decision I have not made yet. I watched a recent video. If you guys have ever checked out PD7, he's got a small channel he just started, but he's very good at what he does. He reviews these products. He gives you just, you know, lays it all out for you and makes it simple to understand what you're purchasing. And I watched his Micro video, and now I'm more moving towards the Micro just to conserve space. That way I can get more arcades and have more arcades. But let's kind of compare. That was going to be my next slide, was let's compare the Legends Pinball with the Legends Pinball Micro. And you know, as far as the games and what games you have available to you to play are the exact same. The ability to get the VIBS board is the same. So that part of it isn't part of my decision. They're pretty much the same in those two areas. But with the Legends Pinball, the one thing that does draw me to it is the game deck, the ability to put this small game deck in there and play more arcade games on that big 32-inch vertical screen. The Micro, I'm more leaning towards it because of the smaller size. However, one thing I need to factor into getting the Micro is I'm not going to want to play it on a table. I'm going to want to get the Sega Stern Legs, which is an additional about $130. So it's starting to get pretty pricey to get the Micro. So this is going to be a really hard decision for me, and it's one that I haven't made yet. It'll probably be a decision I make once I get into the new place and I've got all my arcades moved in, and I can kind of start counting inches and corners and where I can fit things. If things start getting tight and I still don't have my shooter, I still don't have my driver game or driving game, then, you know, I'm going to probably lean more towards the Micro. If I have a lot of room still left, I'll probably go with the Legends Pinball. So it's all going to be a space that factors into this more than anything. But Raven said here, moving tip number 1, get others to do it. Yeah. So I've paid movers in the past, and I've not had very good luck. They've actually damaged things, and it's just been a huge hassle. So I've always moved myself and try to get a friend or two to help me. And that way I just make sure nothing gets messed up. And then BiggyD says here, BiggyD is legit. I appreciate that, Papa Brad. You're legit as well, Papa Brad. Don't get too big of a head. I won't. And then Carl O just joined us. How much space do you have? I voted ALP with wheels on mine in my living room. And I know Carl, he's very tall. He's like me, tall guy, and he adds a few inches to these ALPs and ALUs, puts them on wheels, makes it easy to move them. So those are really good ideas and something that I'll be looking into whenever I purchase mine. Now, if I do the micro, I probably won't do wheels, but maybe on the pinball, the Legends pinball, because it's big and heavy, I might do the wheels. And Lethal Wolf here, he had made the comment, pizza and beer will pay everybody. Yes, pizza and beer goes a long way, that's for sure. And so I'm going to move on here next to Star Wars, okay, because this is like big news, or it's been big news for like the last probably year, I would say. Console Kits has been confirming this every week. 19K Fox does it as well, and we're all Star Wars fans, and you know, we've all gotten really hyped about these Star Wars re-releases, right? But I'm just not completely sold on that we're getting a Star Wars re-release yet, based on what I've heard from John D and where they're at in that process. I just don't think we're getting a Star Wars re-release. We may very well, but let me give you my reasons on why I think that is. And I'll start here with the shipment information. So this is what we've got here on the left, the bill of lading. And basically says here under the cargo description, arcade video games item STW. And then it's got this number here, 301613. When I Google that, I find multiple Star Wars cabinets, the stand-up, the sit-down, and the Star Wars pinball. So we don't know what's in these boxes. We don't know what's in this crate. It could be a Star Wars pinball, it could be a sit-down, it could be a stand-up. And that's kind of what I want to do, is let everyone know, let's not get our hopes too high on this yet, because we really don't know what this was. Also, if you look under the piece count, it's only got 312 total. I just don't think doing a re-release, they're only going to bring 312 over initially. They would probably bring thousands over, I would imagine. So that kind of has me hesitant to believe that this is indeed a Star Wars re-release. So these are the possible options of what we could be getting. It would be the stand-up, the pinball, or the sit-down. And if I had to put my money on it, you know, I haven't seen any websites advertising a sit-down or a stand-up. I've scoured the whole internet, I feel like, and I haven't found anything. So I'm leaning more towards the pinball. So maybe we'll find out here in the coming days or coming weeks if I was right on that. Or maybe we won't hear anything at all and we'll just never know what those were. Or maybe I could be completely wrong and it was a Star Wars re-release and there's a molded coin door on the front and this is a completely new cabinet we've never seen before. So we'll wait and see. It may have online. There's all kinds of questions, right? And Ritual Dello joined us. Good to see you. He says it could be a collectorcade. And Brooklyn Menace joined us. Good to see you. Mitchell B, today I played Zookeeper, playing the different games out there. And Carl O says anything Star Wars, and he's all over that. And I completely agree with that. So if it's a Star Wars re-release, if it's a sit-down, if it's a stand-up, I'm going to add it. I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to spend the extra money. You know, I've always said I pay 50% or less for all my arcade one-ups. Everything you see behind me, I've paid less than 50%. But I've always said there's one or two cabinets in my future that I will pay full price for. And this is one of them, just because I know the value that comes with these cabinets. I see every day people selling stand-up Star Wars for $650, $700, and they're not even having a difficult time selling them at that amount. So I think I kind of look at the stand-up or sit-down Star Wars as a collectible. Not so much, something I do want to play it, but I would look at it as more of a collectible because it holds its value so well. And then Sir Sega has joined us as well. Good to see you, Sir Sega. He says, looks like the same old cabinet. Yeah, so it very well could be. I do know that who was it? Console Kits confirmed that the re-release, when it does come, should have a molded coin door. So we do know well, not for a fact, but we should assume that it will have a molded coin door. And he was unsure on online. It may have leaderboards. We'll see. And Third Floor Arcade Jason says he loves Star Wars Pinball. That is one I have not gotten to play yet. I was actually playing my Attack from Mars today, and I was contemplating, should I go ahead and do that pinner update and get the Star Wars tables on there and get those Marvel tables. So I'm getting closer to doing that update now and that modification. But so let's look on the web. I've kind of been scouring the web looking for what's out there, you know, and you know, you go to the Arcade1Up website, they are advertising Star Wars heavily, but it's just the pinball. That's all they've got. So that's what's leading me to it. If we go to Walmart, I know we've been seeing a lot of people out there. I think it was K Fox. No, it was Michael B. I apologize, who was saying that it may be a exclusive. So it may be like exclusive to Walmart, or it may only be exclusive to Best Buy. So I started checking those sites, and there is not an Arcade1Up stand-up or sit-down anywhere on Walmart.com. And then Best Buy, they do have a landing page as well for this cabinet, but it's indicating sold out, and it still has the old price of $449. So I still am leaning more towards pinball based on what I've found. And looks like Brooklyn Menace said here, the Grinch, I think he's referring to the Grinch pinball tables, which is definitely some tables I want to play as soon as I get my At Games Legends pinball or micro. And Pop Rock's video podcast has joined us. I've recently found his channel. He follows Arcade1Up heavily, and he's got a lot of really cool looking arcades. He's done some modifications to them, and I'm really liking his content. So if you guys haven't checked him out, give him a look. And he said, oh, let's get to his message too. I didn't even read that. He says, I have it from good sources that they are re-releasing it. So yeah, and same thing. Pop Rocks, same exact thing. I've got confirmation from, you know, 19K Fox, confirmation from Console Kits that it's coming. I just don't see it. You know, I hear it, but I don't see it. So that's my stance on it. But we'll see. You know, I could be wrong. And we're going to find out something soon, I think, you know, with the shipment. We should get more word on what's going on, hopefully. And then Papa Brad said they need to do the coin doors on the Star Wars. Yes, absolutely. So this area right here with these logos, they've done away with the logos, and they're doing molded coin doors now on all their cabinets. Take that back, though. I know they re-released the Buck Hunter, and the Buck Hunter did not, I don't believe, have a molded coin door. So we'll have to wait and see. But I do know that Console Kits did say it should have a molded coin door. So I'm going to go with that. And it should. I mean, the molded coin door looks better than the logos. And then they also have that retro 530 lights that you can get to make it look even better. And then we saw with the KI Pro, they can even make those coin doors pressable to be another coin, to add another coin. So that's really cool. And they're really advancing these looks of these cabinets with those coin doors. I like what they're doing. And then Carl O said here, he goes, I think they should have done a deluxe version with no riser though. And that is true. Yes, everyone's wanting to move away from the risers. I do still see a need for risers though. I think they'll always keep that because people have, you know, apartments like me right now. People move quite often. Some people have, you know, basements or have second floors, and having that riser just gives you a lot more flexibility to move those cabinets around. And it also makes it easier to move one by yourself. So I still think there's a need for the riser, and I think we'll always have certain cabinets with risers for that reason. Arcade1Up's always been, you know, the smaller of the competitors, and I think they'll continue to go with that because that's what's made them successful. And then Pop Rocks, he said, I agree, Biggie. They will always have the riser somewhat. Yeah, I think they'll always have that option. May not be every cabinet. It may just be certain ones. But I do think we're going to get that, at least on certain ones. So let's go ahead and move on here to iiRcade. So iiRcade, every probably month or a couple weeks when it's not holiday season, they'll do these game days live streams during the middle of the day. And a lot of times I'll kind of stop what I'm doing when I see that they're doing those live streams, and I'll watch them and I'll take notes, because the way iiRcade does it is they will tell you all their new announcements. Anything that they're planning on doing will typically be given at those game days live streams. And so I was really interested to see what were they going to be cooking up this time. What did we have up their sleeve this week? So we were pleasantly surprised towards the end. They gave us just a sneak peek of Wizard of Walls. And I saw the gameplay of this, and I was really interested in what this game was about. And, you know, I just like the look of it. I like the overhead view. I think games like this do really well on arcades with the joysticks. And it looked like it was multiplayer. And who doesn't want to shoot monsters? You know, I love Resident Evil. I love shooting zombies, but that also goes for monsters as well. So this just kind of drew me immediately. I never knew about the game, but I was really interested in learning about it. So it looks like we had ERB Wars join us. How you doing, man? Good to see you. And let's see here. Video Tau 008, he said, totally agree on the risers. The movability with the risers is awesome. With first cab, it came with no, oh yeah, so the initial arcade 1-ups, the first ones that ever came out, didn't even have risers. You know, you were having to sit down. So that was a cool addition whenever they brought those out. And I do like the ability to be able to move them more easily with those. And for me, if you guys see my risers, I just go typically with the generic ones. I'm not too big on the artwork on the riser. I know a lot of people really like that artwork, and they're good at doing that, making it continue all the way down to the riser. But so back to this iiRcade announcement. So this is called Wizard of Walls. I've started doing a little research on this cabinet, or on this game, I mean. And so it's based on the 1980s classic Wizard of War. So if you have a Midway Legacy cabinet, you've probably already played Wizard of War. I've definitely seen it on the games list for those Midway Legacy cabinets. And it was a game that I was interested in playing. But this here is going to fill that need for me with this Wizard of Walls. It's very similar. It's just got updated graphics and online gameplay, and up to 4 players. And if you look at the description here, let me kind of move this logo in live here. It says a dungeon maze shooter like the old arcade classic Wizard of War. It has local online multiplayer for up to 4 players. So it's available on Steam. If you guys want to go check it out tonight, you can just download it there. It's got positive responses. It's not a very big game, as you can see, only 15 reviews. So this is not a huge title by any means. It probably has not gotten its time to shine yet, and I think it will on the iiRcade, because these types of games, and for me, in my opinion, would play better on an arcade than they would using a controller or using my keyboard and mouse. So I can see why the reviews are, you know, only 15. I mean, it's really meant for an arcade. And it was released just in October of 2021, so it's a new game, still relatively new, by Comfort Zone Games. And then I had found this review here. I really like this guy's review because it kind of leads into what we enjoy in our hobby, which are arcades. And he said, it's a pretty faithful remake of the Wizard of War with updated retro futuristic graphics, tight controls, and a slick, minimalistic, dark electro soundtrack. And it plays great on my arcade cabinet. So I was interested to find out, what is he playing this on? You know, he must have like a modded cabinet with a PC in it, and he's playing his Steam games on his arcade. So he's kind of already been our test subject for this, and he's already told us, hey, this game plays great on an arcade, and when iiRcade gets it, they're going to then go in and bring their developers in, and they're going to, you know, perfect it even more, make it play even better. So I'm even more excited to see what is it going to play like and how is it going to be on the iiRcade. And Papa Brad, he's probably the biggest iiRcade fan I know, along with Brooklyn Menace, many others. But he had said, Wizard of Walls does not have the 80s arcade speech, but it looks fun. So yeah, if you're into the nostalgia and just, you know, that old 80s retro vibe, this game is not going to give you that. This is updated, futuristic graphics, sound, unlike probably, or many, you know, unlike any, I'll say it, unlike any game I've seen. So let's take a look at some video here of what this game looks like. And I should have the audio paused, so we're just watching it. And as you guys can see, it's just a maze, and you've got up to 4 players. I believe you got a corner for each player where they start, and then you've got these monsters just spawning randomly, and you have to shoot at them and kill them, and you have to work together. That is one thing that I'd noticed with this, is watching the co-op and listening to the people playing the co-op. They're really working together, they're in unison, and these games, and I had made a note on this as well, is that you just have to work together in order to achieve success in this game, because the monsters, they just start becoming overwhelming at points in the game. And then also something I really liked about it are the colors. So if you see, the colors are going to change with each stage. And once you start getting into the later stages, it really starts to change up. You can see that it's dark at the beginning, and it'll just flash whenever you kill the enemies. But when you start to get into these later stages, it really starts to brighten up, and it gives you a lot of variety, is what I've noticed. So I'll just keep this going here for a couple more minutes so you guys can see that. And let's look at some of the comments here. Pop Rock says, whoa, that game looks beautiful. At Brooklyn Menace, I've heard iiRcade is so good. I just couldn't pass up $150 for the At Games Mini. Yeah, if you've gotten the At Games Mini at $150, that's a killer deal. But if you're wanting to play an arcade version of Wizard of Walls, you would have to get the iiRcade. I think it's going to be exclusive to iiRcade. And then Mitchell says, looking forward to this one on the iiRcade. And Papa Brad says, the sooner they get this online, the better. Yeah, so that's, I think, going to be what is going to delay this a little bit, is from what I've heard from iiRcade and Game Days, is, you know, they wait until these games are 100% ready before they release them. They don't cut any corners. They perfect and make sure the game works well on their platform before they release it. And the online could hold that up. So this is what I wanted to show you guys on the video. If you see this, they're using a strategy here where they're essentially just blasting at each corner, work in unison, and taking each corner, because the enemies are coming in so fast that that technique works for them. And they were able to pass that stage using that technique. So you can watch YouTube videos and pick up different styles of play and ways to become more successful. So there you can see them doing it there. And then the bugs will just kind of come to you, or the monsters. And that was another thing I had saw as well, is it's not just monsters, it's not just bugs, it's also spiders. And if you're anyone like me and you don't like spiders, that will definitely creep you out. So you'll definitely want to get and kill those as fast as you can. And Raven said here, no word of it being online day one. Yeah, I haven't heard anything yet on if it's going to be online or when it'll be online. All we got was this trailer drop at the very end of Game Days, and that was it. So we should hear more on their next Game Days broadcast or live stream. And you can see now, guys, how the stage has lit up now. It's much brighter. You can see everywhere on the floor. And you can also see how the view changes as well. So there's a lot of variety in this game. and it seems to change as you progress through the various stages. And the enemies seem to change as well. I know P-Dubs, he did, if you guys want to go check out his review, he did a review video a year ago of this game. And what I found interesting on that was when he did his review a year ago, the title on Steam was it was $9.34. And today it's $10.99. So it has gone up in price in a year. So you always know you've got a good game when the price goes up. All right, so it's something to think about. And I found that interesting. You don't typically see that. But like what Papa Brad said, you're not going to get that nostalgic feeling playing this. So if you want to do that, I would go check out Wizard of War, 1980s classic game. You can get on the Arcade 1-Up Midway Legacy cabinets. But let's see here what Papa Brad has to say. I do not think it will have online at launch, but it will have it for sure later on. Yeah, so they could do it either way. They could wait till the online's ready and release it, or they could just go ahead and release it now and develop the online later. But as long as they're upfront with everyone and they tell everyone ahead of time that that's what they're doing, I think everyone will be okay with that. We won't have another Marvel versus Capcom 2 type situation. And it's also just a game, you know, it's not like you're buying an entire cabinet. And then Brooklyn Menace said here, they seem to abandon the 5 games a week getting online support and are just adding online to new releases. Okay, so that's good to know. And then ERB Wars, he says, I played it on Steam with Hollywood Polo and it's a blast. Yeah, so if this game starts taking a long time to release, I may just go ahead and get it on Steam. It's only $10, $11, and just start playing now, just to get, you know, my grasp of the game and to get better at it before iiRcade gets it. And then Console Fanboy joined us. Good to see you here. Actually, that trailer looked insane. I like the graphics. It looks great. So that's coming from Console Fanboy, guys. So that's a compliment for sure. And then Mr. Miami Cuddles has joined us. Good to see you, man. He says, is this an iiRcade stream? No. So I started with @games and Arcade 1-Up, but I've moved over to iiRcade only because of this Wizard of Walls game. Just really looks cool, and I don't think many have heard about it. So wanted to spend a little bit of time on it and get others' opinions on what they thought about it. And Ritual Dello here, he said just wait. So I probably will wait if I don't have to wait a long time. If we're talking months before this game gets released, I'll go ahead and just get it on Steam now. But let's go ahead and move on. And these are been streaming here for about 45 minutes. I want to go for about an hour. But I want to kind of do these closing thoughts, which are just kind of like personal things that are in my game room right now that I wanted to share with everyone. So I've got this Miss Pac-Man behind me. You can't see it in this frame because I'm using a different camera. But I've added, so P-Dubs came over to my apartment a couple months ago, maybe about a month and a half ago, and he played all my arcades. And the first thing he said about my Miss Pac-Man is you've got to change out that joystick. And I kind of noticed the joystick wasn't that great. But I was dealing with it because, you know, I'm not one to really rush out and upgrade my controls. But I went ahead and listened, and I changed out the joystick. And it was like night and day. I used a sand wall and made a huge difference. And then, but I was playing Galaga, and a Galaga, of course, you have to button mash to be good at this game. And I just noticed the buttons that come with the Arcade 1-Up, they're just, let's be honest, they're not that great. They're usable, but they're not that great. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go ahead and get some buttons. Well, they have the sand wall buttons. They have the concave and the convex. And I've heard B-Kongs talk about the convex and how they're easier on your hands. And they just kind of feel a little bit better. So I went with those. And I ordered, no, I did not. I did not order the sand wall because those are 30 millimeter And I've heard that depending on the cabinet you have, it can be difficult to get those 30mm buttons inside there. And you have to cut portions or parts of the button in order to even get it in. So I found these, and these, I'll try and put this in the description at the end of the live stream, but I'll put a link to these buttons. They're on Amazon. You can get 8 of them for $15, and they use mechanical keyboard technology. So it's got a sensor within the button, which would be the same sensor you would have on a mechanical keyboard. So I was interested to try these out, and I really like them. I got these white ones to start with, and instantly, as soon as I put them in, I got a high score immediately, which was that 55,000. And then I played again, and I got another high score, and I got 63,000. So I'm just going to be getting better with these buttons and these joysticks. I just wanted to let everyone know out there, if you're still rocking those original buttons and those original joysticks, I would start planning on trying to replace those if you want to be competitive. Because like, for instance, this Miss Pac-Man has got leaderboards. And the only way you're going to be competitive is if you try these things. You know, you could try different buttons and what you like, but definitely try something new. Don't use what Arcade 1-Up gives you, because those aren't the greatest. And we got Andrew's Clay Creations and More. He joined us. Good to see you. He said, I agree, console fanboy. I was never a fan of the original, but I'm looking forward to this. And then Brooklyn Menace says, every shooter they make is a 10 out of 10. And console fanboy, I've been enjoying Galaxy Champions and Donut Dodo a lot, but I can't find Wizard of Walls on Switch, unfortunately. So yes, I think you found one, console fanboy. You found a game that may not be on the Switch. So that would be a reason maybe to get an iiRcade again, if you want to play it on an arcade. Or you could modify an Arcade 1-Up and put a computer in there and play it on Steam. That would be the other option. And then Papa Brad said, I put Sandwall 4-Way in my Namco Legacy Arcade 1-Up. So yeah, I saw that video of you putting buttons in, Papa Brad, and I wanted to go with the Sandwall, but I didn't want to be cutting anything, and I didn't want to be jamming or forcing in buttons and messing up the, I guess you call it, particle board on these game decks. And Ritual Della said, console fanboy, you can Steam Link or go buy a Steam Deck. Yeah, that's an option as well. I didn't think of that, is streaming through that Steam Link. And but yeah, just so on those buttons and on those joysticks, I'm going to be upgrading all mine. I actually ordered 8 blue, 8 red, and 8 black, and I've got 5 whites left. And I'm going to do 2 whites, 2 blacks on my final fight. I'm going to try to make my Marvel superheroes as close as I can. I'm going to do blue on the first set. I'm going to do red on the second set. Instead of going with the green, I'm going to go with black for that final set, because the green didn't look too good on these buttons that I'm going to provide you guys the link for. And then on my NBA Jam, as well as that one's all getting new buttons for all 4 players. And then I'm even going to change out the buttons on my Arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars Pinball, and I'm going to put the convex buttons for the flippers as well. So everything's getting new buttons at this point. I've been sold on that. And it looks like Thor KC's joined us. Good to see you, Thor. He said, just finished building and copying games onto GRS BAC. Maybe I won't be using the Switch for a while. Yeah, I've been playing my Switch a ton, like so much lately, ever since Console Fanboy's videos have been coming out about the Switch. It just got me thinking of my Switch again, and I've been playing it a lot. I kind of shut down my PS5 for a while and just been playing that. And I did a live stream, a couple live streams this week that went pretty well. And also just enjoying those games. I got a bigger controller as well. I like to play mobile, and I got what's called a Hori controller, H-O-R-I, and it's a pro style controller that you can attach and place to the Joy-Cons. And since I have bigger hands, those pro Hori controllers make me enjoy it way more than I was before. And I'm just taking my Switch everywhere with me now. appointments to work, on breaks, at home. I'm playing it all the time now. And Andrew Clay Creations, he had mentioned Virtual Fighter 1 and 2. That is definitely one title that I want to see. I used to love to play Virtual Fighter on the Saturn, and would love to see it on an arcade. Those won't be coming to Arcade 1-Up, and for some reason they are not on the Switch. So I'm not sure, who's going to get Virtual Fighter. I know that, or Virtua Fighter. I know that Sega has worked with everyone. It seems like they've worked with iiRcade, they've worked with Arcade 1-Up. So it could go either way. We'll just have to wait and see. And then Carl O said, he goes, I sold my Switch years ago. He goes, I miss Mario Kart. That's about it. PS5 crushes it. So I had Mario Kart, the one we're playing today on our Switch, I have on my Nintendo Wii U. And I can play it anytime on my Wii U. So I've been hesitant to get Mario Kart, but with all these booster packs that they keep coming out with, it seems like they're all in on continuing with Mario Kart for some time. So I've been shopping Mario Kart. I found it for $42 recently, and I'm probably going to end up having to pay over $40 for a game that's been out for a very long time. But I do want to get Mario Kart. And let's see. Thor said, I'm also finished getting the available countercades. My work from home desk is looking so good now. That's good to hear. Collectorcade, I'm sorry. Collectorcade. Okay, so yeah, I don't have a Collectorcade. I don't have a countercade. I've been looking at some countercades. I may have one of those maybe in my future, but not too big on those tiny collectorcades. But maybe someday I'll get into that, for desk stuff. And then ERB Wars, I would love to see Space Harrier 2 on an iiRcade. Yes, definitely. And so let's go to my closing thought too here. So I always am on Reddit. I'm always on Facebook groups, checking out anything home arcade. And I'd come across this post where someone had posted CES 2019 Arcade 1-Up. And I found this image really interesting because it really tells a larger story, and it kind of asks and begs the question, is Arcade 1-Up slowing down? They definitely are. We know they are. They said they are. John D said in his recent interview with BiggggyD that less is more, and that they will be slowing their production of arcades and their release of new arcades. They're going to focus on making sure these titles are ready. They don't want any more Blitz type scenarios. They don't want any more Marvel versus Capcom 2 fiascos. So they are going to stick with less is more. They're going to make sure the games are ready. And we're just probably not going to see things like this image for a while. Maybe CES 2025 or 2026 will get this again. But, we're only, 3 or 4 years removed from this CES. And look how much different it was then compared to now. Now they're in a hotel room, and they're even taking the casino-cade and hiding it. So things have changed greatly with this company. And I think they're making the right move, though. I think this is definitely the correct thing to do, is to take a step back and let's reassess and reevaluate our company. And let's make sure that we're doing things the right way rather than just pumping out more and more stuff. So that opens the door for competitors like iiRcade or At Games to get a larger grasp on customer and the home arcade market. And Brooklyn Menace says here, damn, that's a nice arcade. And Papa Brad says, hello, Jeff. And Brian Raymond has joined us. Good to see you here. He says they need to do a Double Dragon arcade. Yeah, Double Dragon, I think you're referring to Arcade 1-Up. We've got the Double Dragon on iiRcade. And Brooklyn Menace just asked here, is that the Miami store? No, this is CES 2019. So this was their booth in the year 2019. And you can see those old MK2 cabinets. You can see the old Galaga, the old Space Invaders. This is where it all started. I guess this is the second year, actually. So it started in 2018. 2019 is when they really got going, though. And then Rainwater Games has joined us. Good to see you. He goes, am I the only one that thinks it's a little odd to go to the convention, but your booth is actually in a hotel room? Seems strange to me. Yeah, so definitely that's kind of how they've been going. You know, Evo, they did that, and they did that again with CES this year. It is a little bit strange, but they're cutting costs, and that's one easy way to do it, is to just get a hotel room rather than a booth. And, you know, they're just having to make those probably difficult decisions right now in order to become and to stay successful in this market. Booths cost a lot of money, and you also have to bring a lot of product to back up the cost of that booth, and they're just not ready to make that kind of commitment right now or probably in the near future. But it is interesting always to see, you know, where we've come from. You know, the company started in 18, 19 to now, you know, how much it's changed. So closing thought 3, this is kind of like my last closing thought. We're about to hit an hour, so we'll kind of wrap it up after this. But Console Fanboy said, Brooklyn, they have Galaxy Champions and Wizard of Walls. I feel like they're close. So he feels like they're getting closer. And then let's see here. Carl had a pretty good message here. He said the ALU XL would be the answer with the 32-inch screen with the rotate feature of the ALU Mini, and the fastest available rock chip, 3588, would satisfy vertical and horizontal games. So yeah, there's definitely an AtGames, I believe. I don't have any, you know, inside information or anything like that, but there is definitely an AtGames product in our future, and I think it's the more time that goes by, the closer that is getting. So I think we're getting close. It may be this year, it may be next year, but there is going to be some new ALUs and new pinballs coming, because the ALU's been, I think it's going on 4 or 5 years now. So it's time for a new one. And then Rainwater Games here, he said, I could pay a few teenagers to walk around wearing signs saying, go visit the Rainwater Games booth in room 413. That's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so this will be kind of like my closing thought here. And it said, which one did you get? So on a Reddit post, a guy posted this. So if you go to Walmart and you look up the Ultimate MK3, you look up Sam's and look up the Ultimate MK3, this one that went for $199. The image you're going to see is the one on the right, the one that says MK3, and the one where right below the game deck it says MK3 with no colors behind it, just has the logo. And that's what they're advertising, which what was interesting is what people are getting is what's on the left, where it says Ultimate MK3 on the on that marquee, and it's got the graphics behind the MK3 logo, and it's a different MK3 logo altogether on the lower marquee. So I found that really interesting. I don't think this is going to like turn anyone off and make them want to return their cabinet, or make them contact Arcade One Up and be like, send me what I paid for. I don't think it's to that extreme, but it is interesting to find them advertising something that looks totally different than what people are getting. And I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention, that what you see online is not always what you're going to get with Arcade One Up. So hopefully they can work on trying to perfect those types of things. And that would be on like the graphic artist and the people that do these renders to work with them and to make sure that, you know, they're working hand in hand and they know what's actually getting released, rather than just making renders that, you know, they think it's going to look like, or that they thought it was going to look like. Because that could be a make or break. That could cost them money. Someone might return their cabinet if they get the wrong artwork. And then Goofyfoot, he said here it was a non-smoking room, Papa Brad. And Console Fanboy said, I think the cab comes with both versions. I remember Jim Mint saying it came with both marquees in his video review. Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't know it came with both marquees, and those were swappable. I did not know that. And that's something that I want to look into, because I did not know that. Because the post I saw said that he received the ultimate MK3 marquee, wanting the MK3 marquee, and was sounding like he didn't have the option. He would have to go with what he got. But that would be interesting to know that you could just change those out. So thanks for bringing that up, Console Fanboy. And Stardust, you just joined us here towards the tail end of the live stream, saying hi, everybody. Good to see you. And then Papa Brad said he still wants Miss Pac-Man, or more Pac-Mans the better. So I really enjoy my Pac-Man. I do. I like it a lot. I think the slanted screen, the recessed screen, is going to do very well. I think that's going to really add to the experience, but I don't want them to just focus on Pac-Man. Pac-Man is a big seller for them, so I understand why they do it. But I would like to see them move away from Pac-Man and not be so heavy on it all the time. And that's coming from someone that really enjoys the game. And then Goofyfoot, he said, you hear from the developers, Cuddles? And Cuddles says the developer of Retro Spaceball seems really friendly. And he said, yes, he did hear from the developers. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up, guys. I really enjoyed doing the live stream. I like the engagement with everyone in the audience. So maybe I'll just move forward with doing all my chillin' chats live like this. And maybe I'll pick a time before Console Kits comes on, like early afternoon on Sundays, to do that. So we'll just wait and see. I'll advertise it in community post and make sure that I let everyone know when I start doing the live streams, or if I'm going to start doing that permanently moving forward. But it is something that I'm considering. And the time really flies too. I mean, we're over an hour already, and I don't feel like I've been on hardly any at all. It feels like I just started. So really cool experience for me. And I think it's good for everyone out there in the audience, because Console Kits was off air tonight, 19K Fox was off air tonight, so it kind of worked out really well for me to experiment and to give you guys an outlet to communicate and chat and talk arcades. And Cornercade just joined us. What's up, chat? Definitely check him out. He's got a great channel. And CDN Red Devil said, I have a place for it. Good to see ya. And PD7 said, great stream, Biggie. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I have. I really have enjoyed doing this. So I hope you guys have a good rest of the night. I'll see everyone in the next video or the next Chillin' Chat. Bye-bye.